Hello, welcome to Unilife with Canvas Nottingham. I, Miles, will be hosting. Today, we are joined by Christophe. He is an alumni of the University of Nottingham, and he has been a part of the Canvas community for the past 3.5 years. I have some fun facts about Christophe before we begin. Christophe is the best board game rules explainer I have ever met in my life. And a second fun fact is Christophe is in the process of creating his own board game. Christophe, welcome to Unilife.
Thank you for having me. I really need to add the line of best board game explainer to my CV now.
Yeah, it's very important.
Yeah, but I'm glad to be here, and I'm looking forward to it, if not a bit nervous.
Is there a board game that you struggle to explain the rules?
Oh.
Surprise question off the bat.
Not really at the moment. It's only if I'm not familiar with the game, if I haven't really played it properly, I understand it properly, that I can't explain it properly. But it's like once I've learned all the mechanics of the game, I think I'm confident in explaining it.
Christophe's sort of the polar opposite of me. When I try to explain the rules of board games, everybody just gets a little bit more confused, and that's my edge to victory that way.
It's a diabolical scheme all along.
I know. I'm just masquerading to help myself in my chances of victory. So in this episode, we're going to just talk a little about Christophe's experience and his story and his time in uni and at Canvas Nottingham, and now what's going on in his life. But before we get into that, I just wanted to begin by asking you a bit about your background. Like, where did you grow up, Christophe?
Well, as many people can tell from my accent, I wasn't born in the UK. I was actually born in Quebec, Canada, so like the French-speaking part.
North America.
Yeah, exactly. And when I was 5 years old, I moved to England with my entire family. The main reason that I know of is because of my dad got offered a really good job in England, but I think there was like other reasons as well. Like he was originally British born, so he hadn't been back since he was 8, I think. So I think he wanted to see how the old home country was. So I grew up in Newcastle for most of my life, up to the point I went to uni, and I came to Uni of Nottingham in 2014, and fell in love with the place. I made a lot of friends here, decided to stick around, and that's where I am at this moment.
Wow. So you grew up your first few years in Canada and then moved to England. How was that, changing countries as a 5-year-old, as you said?
It was pretty surreal, yeah. I guess I didn't have many memories is to begin with of Canada, so like I think I adjusted to it much better. Like they were worried about me is like picking up a new language. Thing is, I barely picked up French to begin with, so English pretty much was my first language. I hardly spoke French, yet somehow I ended up with this like chimera quality of a voice. It doesn't belong anywhere.
It's unique.
It is, and that it was very noticeable growing up. Like that was the very first thing anybody noticed ever about me, and basically, yeah, as like that's like when I first met anybody, that was my identity, like the foreign one, the different one. And so yeah, like at first I was like, well, yeah, I am foreign, I am from Canada, fair enough. But whenever I visited back to Canada, I would be the British one all of a sudden. And it's just like over here, I've got a strong Canadian accent. In Canada, I've got a strong British accent. I was like, I can't do any other accent apart from this voice. I've tried to do different accents in the past, but there is no changing this voice. It's here to stay, whether I like it or not.
So how was building relationships like in this season of your life if you were viewed as the quote unquote outsider?
I mean, it's like once people got over the voice, like I think I made good impressions. I think people liked me, but it's like I kind of noticed that people like to try to see the how people are different to them as quickly as possible, and then try to surround themselves with people who are just like them. Like, and so I fit I got along with people, but I was never inside a group. Like I was always kind of like along the edges of groups. Well, that's how I felt anyway.
I mean, I think that's a really great insight of people seeing how people are different from them instead of like what unites them and brings them together.
Hmm.
I mean, us adults struggle with that now, let alone like 6 and 7 and 8 year olds
Hmm.
who look at people who are different. So I think that's a really great insight. And the world would be a much better place if we sort of flip that logic on the way around. So I think that's a great insight. So you talked about growing up in Newcastle and then coming to Nottingham for university. What was the first few years of university like for you?
The first couple of years were actually pretty good. Like I've always been really socially awkward, so I was afraid of like trying to make friends. I think I managed to get along with people quite well. Like I got along well with the people that I was living with in halls, like well enough to live with them again in second year. I was getting along with people on my course, and I also joined a sports club, and I was making friends there. I think yeah, like I was pretty much enjoying it, and I started to feel like I actually was part of something. Third year, things started going downhill,
Yeah.
where basically I took on way too much. I decided to join the committee of uh, my ice sports club, and this was like third year chemical engineering I was doing as well. That's when the work really ramped up, and just essentially I just bit off way more than I could chew. I ended up making mistakes, it's both in my work and in my committee work that ended up impacting the whole society, which really put down on me. And just yeah, I basically kind of went into withdrawal mode like October, November, December, like so much so that it really impacted my work and my revision of for the exams. That in January I had four exams and I failed every single one of them.
Wow. So third year was definitely a difficult year for you. Like, how did you feel at the end of January? Sort of like things seemed to be going really great, and then within a 3 to 4 month window, things started to fall apart in different ways in your life.
Yeah, I think the best word I can think of is just broken. Like like ev- I just thought this is my thought was I completely messed up. There's no coming back from this. Like I can't I didn't see myself be able to catch up all of the marks I needed and the resits to finish that year, and I couldn't. I was too ashamed to face my society anymore. I was really down dumps and just hiding away from everything. And but luckily, it's my family really got is supporting me. Like my dad drove all the way down to Nottingham to spend a weekend with me to talk things through, and Newcastle to Nottingham's 3 hours, and he's a very busy person. Like my dad works all the time, so it really meant something to me that he took the time out to come see me. And so yeah, he encouraged me to talk to my tutor to sort things out. And my tutors were really my whole department was really supportive, and yeah, they had me go see the doctors, and that the doctors did diagnose me with ranging from moderate to severe depression, anxiety. And so the department decided that at a since like it's clear that I was starting suffering all the way back from October, like the beginning of the year. They deemed that I wasn't in fit health to do that year. So what they suggested for me to do was to take go on voluntary suspension and come back next year to do third year as a first attempt. So it wouldn't be a reset year; it would be a second first attempt.
So that let me get this timeline right. That all that happened was like January, February of 2017, correct?
Yeah.
And so I remember actually meeting you in February of 2017. And I met you when we saw the Lego Batman movie together with a lot of other people with Canvas Nottingham.
Yeah.
And you just talked about your dad being a great place of community and support. What did community and support look like here in Nottingham? So it seems like you had a good family one.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I was very like I've been lucky throughout my whole life to have a very loving, supporting family, and they were absolutely there for me. It's like when it came to my friends, so like I mentioned that like I got along with the people that I lived with in halls. I lived with them second year. I ended up living with different people for third year, so I kind of like lost contact active with my original friends. And so my social group was mainly people from my course and the society. Like, and the trouble was that, as I said, because of the mistakes I did with the society, I was too ashamed to like go back there. Like, it's like I know now that I was thinking it was a lot worse than it actually was, and that they were being a lot more forgiving than I was forgiving myself. But at that time, I'm like, I just built it up in my head that everybody hated me there, that I had no reason to go back there. And when it came to people on my course, like it was hard for them to like empathize with me what I was going through because they were doing the exact same work I was, and they had their own things going on as well, out of like societies and stuff. So, or like it was hard to like sympathize that I was struggling with because they were going through the exact same work as well.
Yeah.
Also, like I couldn't really find that much support there. So yeah, like at that time, my family was the main form of support. And so when I went on a voluntary suspension, like my dad like kept constant contact with me. He was like, right, so what are you going to do with the rest of the time? I'm it's like, this is the time to rest and recuperate, but don't do it from inside your room. Like you're not going to get better just stay in your room for the next few months. You have to go out, socialize, and do the things that you know that you like doing, even if you
Almost
don't
like,
feel
what are
like
you
it.
going to do about it? Like, this isn't ideal. I know it's
Yeah.
hard. And almost, what are you going to do about it? And so, how did that community develop in the next few years? Because I now know you now, and I know a little bit of the story, but if you don't mind sharing.
Yeah. So yeah, he was basically saying it's just like uh like go out to have some fun, but like do it with some people. Like go like now you've got free time, go and join other societies that you know you'd like to, but you just didn't have time to. So the main one for me was a board game society because I really got into board games the
Yeah,
past
board game.
few months. And so I went there, and very first night I went was also the very first night that Bryant and Caleb went, who at the time were interns for campus. Like they came over for America to do an internship here, and yeah, like this, there was their first night at Board Game Society too. And since we didn't know anybody, we decided to form a group together, play board games together. And so that was my very first interaction with Canvas. Because yeah, like I
Yeah.
played board games with them the next few weeks afterwards. I enjoyed their company, and yeah, then they invited me to go see the Lego Batman movie with them and their friends. So like, yeah, I haven't seen a movie in a while, and like I was still like hesitant of like going to see large groups of people, because like large groups of people make me nervous. But I just thought it's like it's a movie. It's like there's something to focus on. It's like there isn't that much pressure, and if I'm and it's like yeah, there's no pressure for me to stick around if I'm feeling uncomfortable. So yeah, I think it'll be good. And I can say after that event, the rest was history, I guess.
Yeah, and what did that like development and community look like here at campus? I That's how I've known you at least.
Yeah, so like I really enjoyed the movie, but I also enjoyed talking with the people there, and so much so that we went to the pub afterwards, like back on nails when it was
Yeah.
still open. Rest in peace. Uh, but it's like, yeah, I really enjoyed. So I got interested in Canvas. So like, I started going to more of their events, going in to like they did the Pancake Day and the Tiny House. I went to like to some of the events hosted at the White Hart. One of them being the murder mystery. Like I had a lot of fun at that one, and so yeah, like I was really enjoying the events. And then I knew like I was actually starting to like feel like wanted and welcome, especially like when I was starting to get invited to events outside of the organized events. The main one being the D&D sessions that hosted at Joel's house.
Yeah. And you
Like
started to build community outside of the organized structure of events, like getting invited into these, not like selective things, but like things that were like, oh, only a couple of people are doing these things.
yeah, they're like he's like he looks like somebody who would enjoy Dungeons and Dragons. Let's ask him.
Yeah.
And just like yeah, like I really appreciated that and I really enjoyed that. And like and so yeah, like I was feeling community with a small group of people, but then I did start feeling like a community throughout campus in general, or because like I was really appreciating what campus was doing and I wanted to help out however I can. So or like I would just do like tiny little things like stack the chairs up at the end of the night. Like I thought I was just doing something like very mild. I was like just however I can help anyways. Like I just thought, oh, just like I'm just helping out behind the scenes. Like it'll be fine. And it was more than fine. It's like I was surprised that people that the Canvas members were taking notice of what I was doing, and they seemed to appreciate what I was doing. So much
Oh
so
yeah.
they
100%.
invite that they invited me into at the time to be called a student leader, which at the student leader meeting we decided to rename ourselves the Fellowship. And so like it just like yeah, that time that at I was going through a hard time, like really struggling to find like self-worth and self-confidence, and there were these people like saying like telling me that yeah, no, it's like we do appreciate you. It was like we really appreciate what you've been doing here, and it's like we recognize that, and
So,
that definitely helped
so
me.
So in this couple year experience, you were talking about you started to develop a community of people who seem to really love you for who you are. You just started to talk about like doubting your self worth, or like what was your internal dialogue at this point? Like what's going through your mind? Because you've already talked about struggling with depression and anxiety a bit. And so, if you don't mind expanding a bit.
Yeah. So basically, it's like what happened like from October to January was a tipping point on like issues that I've been dealing with like from a young age, like since I was a teenager. Like it was like basically like emotions that I kind of was repressing basically, but it was all coming out at that point. Where it's just like it was more than just like low self-confidence, low self-esteem. Like it was like self-loathing. Like I'm not a hateful person, but like I think the most accurate like experience I can think of hate was me hating myself. And just yeah, like at that point, like I was really like struck. Okay, because like if my mind wasn't distracted, like that was part of the reason why I wasn't able to focus on my revision that I failed my exams at, because whenever I tried to sit down to do work, like I was just bombarded with like so many negative thoughts and words that like I never really like I just thought was like at that time I was just like, yeah, no, that's accurate. But later on, when I talked about people, so like some of the words I used were thinking a lot was like useless, pathetic, parasite. I thought that was normal, but then and it's like later on when I talked with the counselor, he was like, yeah, no, those were very strong, visceral words you're using. Like that's a very like negative reaction that you have towards yourself. And so basically, so I was like up to that point, like I was like getting used, trying to build my self confidence back up again with Canvas community, but I was also exploring what the source was of all
All of
these
this
feelings.
negative self-talk and negative self-story that you aren't worthy, you aren't um, good enough, and all of these things.
Yeah.
And so I know a bit of your story, so I just want to lay a bit of a background. Like Canvas is a place where we want people to belong just as they are. Whoever you are, regardless of your story, you are welcome at Canvas, and you're welcome to be a part of our community as much or as little as you want to be. But we also want to provide a space for people to explore some of those life's big questions and questions of self-worth and self-value, and where does that value come from. And for us, the Canvas staff, that comes from our faith and our belief in this guy named Jesus. And a part of that, our Canvas community have been exploring what it means to follow Jesus in different settings. So what did you make of all this talk about Jesus, be it like a 10 or 15-minute talk during a term, or other conversations you would hear throughout the Canvas community?
Well, actually, first things first, like the first board game night I had with Caleb and Bryant, they mentioned that yeah, that they came here because they were working for like a Christian charity. My initial thought was like, oh dear, here we go again, Christian missionaries. So yeah, like so a bit about background, like I kind of basically like grew up atheist, but like not like completely like I guess religious, because like my dad grew up in a Christian household, but ended up not believing in the end. But things like he was completely open to like his children like exploring faith. Like he had nothing against Christianity, it just wasn't for him. And so like basically it was up to like us ourselves to explore faith. When I was a kid, I was basically too lazy to do it. And I was my friends at the time, yeah, like they were all atheists as well. And basically, our experiences with Christianity came from the very loud, obnoxious, negative side. Because it's normally like it's true for anything. That's you the negative side of anything tends to be the loudest. So we never really got to see the good sides of Christianity that much because you have to go looking for it because they don't
It's not
shove it
always
in your
what's
face.
proposed. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was always open to the idea of Christianity, yeah, like especially like coming to Canvas. Like I really got into like it first started with the round table, and then there was the dub. As like I was really enjoying these talks because like I like an intelligent conversation. Like I wanted to like hear people's different views, and so and yeah, like I was really enjoying people's conversation, like what faith meant to them. It's like how it can be applied to them in real life. And so, and then yes, like I was enjoying like having discussion with them afterwards, like questioning it's like about different topics. It's like, and I was always curious about the answer back. It's like whether it's like I was quite nice. The answers were a mix of like both like rational answers, but also like genuine faith based as well. Oh, that it showed that you guys weren't just complete blind faith. Like you thought about things rationally and cleverly. Is like about life, but it's like but it was basically augmented by your faith in Jesus as well, which I found really fascinating.
That, like, it was a hybrid. It wasn't one or the other, like, sort of thing.
Yeah,
Um, and you felt like you had your space to explore and talk about and share your opinions and perspectives, and then hear other people who are like, "Oh, this is why I think this," or "This is why I think this." And there's been different spaces, as that you mentioned. We had a roundtable discussion where people could just share. We had some talks and then discussion afterwards at Canvas. But this past spring, our Canvas community went to this thing called Alpha, which is this course where people watch some videos with a Christian perspective. And after the Christian perspective, there is a discussion where people are able to share their opinions. What was your experience of the Alpha course?
I really enjoyed it, absolutely, because yeah, it was everything that I liked about the dab. It's like it was in a bigger setting with more people, and so like it was obvious that yeah, it's obvious that the Alpha course was like a strong promoting advocacy of Christianity, but like they did it such a good way where it was they shared their side in a 20-minute video, and then it's like you would talk about it in a group, a mix of different people, of some Christians, some on the fence, some complete opposition, but it's like all the conversation was very civilized, and everybody respected each other's viewpoints, and I was really enjoying it. And so like through those discussions, I managed to learn a lot about Christianity that I didn't actually know before. It cleared up some like misconceptions that I had, because like my view before Alpha was that Jesus did exist, like there was historical evidence that he existed, but I just considered to be like a good religious teacher, and that's all he was. But like I didn't realize that Jesus actually did call himself the Son of God, that he was very aware of who he was and what he was trying to do. Also, so yeah, that was one of many misconceptions that was cleared away from me. And just yeah, like as the sessions went on, it's like more misconceptions were being cleared up, and like there was I was believing more and more in this stuff, and I was realizing it's because I wanted to believe in more of this stuff as well. Oh, like I thought it was like this is really good stuff. Why shouldn't I believe in this? But I still had some logical hang-ups. Like there was always the logical side of my brain. It's like, no, but that doesn't make sense, and that doesn't
For
make
this reason,
sense.
or this reason, or this reason.
Precisely, yeah. And it's just like the main logical reason was is like miracles don't happen. Essentially, it's like because they go against logic, therefore they don't happen. So like I was like, yeah, supernatural things don't happen until it happened in February or March. Probably
Yeah,
should
it was
remember the
March,
exact
right
date.
before it was the weekend before when it went into national lockdown, part one. And it was a Saturday, the last Saturday we could. It was this Alpha weekend. And what happened on the Alpha weekend?
So yeah, that weekend was all about talking about the Holy Spirit. So like part of the Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. But throughout my life and in all of my RE lessons, we never once talked about the Holy Spirit. So I knew nothing about it coming in, and it's it's probably the most important, because it's probably like in terms of for like Christianity, like it's the one they interact with most through God is through the Holy Spirit. And so at the end of the Alpha weekend, it's like they invite the Holy Spirit into the room to fill people up. So I decided to give it a try, and like after a while, like it didn't happen at first, but like after a lot of praying that I was genuinely trying so hard, I actually did feel God's presence in that day, and He did something massive for me. All of the like negative self-talk that I had, that I've been trying to deal with counseling, with talking with friends, and that I was working through, but it was still there. It on that day vanished, completely gone. What used to happen was that if I was to sit down quietly, the negative thoughts would start creeping in, and then suddenly it would start bombarding me more unless I was able to distract myself. But now I'm able to sit in complete silence and just be at peace. And at that point, I just thought, this is not logical.
Yeah, that this was something extraordinary, like a miracle, as you said earlier,
Hmm.
something that can't be explained by I can't control all of this sort of thing.
Yeah.
Um, so that was the beginning of you really maybe deciding, oh, this faith thing is for me because it actually does sort of make sense in some ways.
Yeah, because like my main logical counter argument was it's gone now, so I basically had nothing left. I'm just like, yeah, I I do believe in God. Simple as that.
And so you mentioned about like this miracle that happened on that day in March. What has the negative self-talk looked like in the past 5 to 6 months? Does it still exist at all, or is it just like non-existent? What?
Non-existent. Like because of the lockdown, I haven't really managed to show my face much and be able to like show people how I've changed. But like on my, I've had a lot of like Zoom calls with my family and friends, and they've all noticed that I've seen different. I've seen like more chipper, as it were, and just yeah, like I seem to have a much more like positive outlook on everything, and just yeah, don't get me wrong, like I still have the odd off day. Like the anxiety, depression hasn't gone away.
It's
But
not like every problem in your life is fixed, but just this specific element of it.
like one of the biggest challenges that I was facing is gone now,
Yeah.
and so basically, yeah, like I'm looking forward to what I'm able to do now.
What it
But
filled the space of where that negative self-talk was.
that's what I'm to this day. I'm still trying to explore that. I still don't fully understand what's left. I still don't fully understand what I'm going to fill it with. I'm still exploring that, like like 7 or 8 months down the line. So, but but I'm still hopeful. I'm still looking forward to finding out.
So, I'd from talking to other university students and having friends, you're not the only person who has this negative self-talk or
No,
has
absolutely.
experienced this negative self-talk in their life. What is your advice for somebody who is experiencing it first?
Well, I mean, because like negative self-talk can come from many different sources. For me, it was from myself, from personally. Like all the negativity came from conceptions that I came up with myself. It didn't come from any outside influences. But some people's negative self-talk does come from outside influences, whether like bad relationship or like tragic events. Like it's different for everybody, so it's hard to find. And it's like an advice that's a good fit all. Um, I guess the best advice that I could think of is that don't go it alone. I mean, it's like if you're able to seek counseling, absolutely do. It's like you'll be able to get something out of counseling, and something is always better than nothing. And just yeah, like don't
Ask
be
for help.
afraid. Yeah, and don't be afraid to like fall back on family and friends. Like one thing that for me was like I was always afraid of inconveniencing or bothering people, so I always try to bottle it up and try to deal with it myself. Some people can do it, and that's great for them, but for me, it was way too hard to tackle by myself.
Yeah, I
So
think
like,
that's a really great insight. The power of asking for community and support and just being able to be vulnerable and being like, I'm not okay right now. And for you, one season it was your dad, and it seems like since then, other people have come into your life where you can experience that. And be it professional help, be it family, be it friends, like talking to people is a very important first step,
yeah,
as you were
absolutely.
mentioning. Um, so, what's your advice for somebody who knows somebody who's struggling with negative self-talk?
Um, so I guess yeah, it would be to offer support, not advice. Um, so like when like I did open up is like about what I was going through with some people. Like some people, like well-meaning people, like offered like their insight and advice of how to deal with it. And because, like I said, Ed, like it's different for absolutely everybody. Everybody's problems are different, so the solution is going to be different. So, like the advice isn't always going to be helpful for people. Sometimes it can be a bit infuriating to hear. And I know that they were well-meaning, but it's just like at
Let
that
me
time,
fix
it's
your
like the
problems for you in 5 minutes because I know I'm the expert in your life in these 5 minutes.
yeah, like people weren't. Yeah, like some people did have that attitude, like that really got my nerves. But others like were just well-meaning, but just didn't pick the right words and said some words that kind of set me off. So like my advice would be to just offer support, like just be there, like support them. If they do like ask for something, absolutely, like you can offer insight on something that if they ask about it, but like just like it's probably better like just to like keep them encouraged, like keep enforcing that at the love that they belong in a community at that you'll be there for them. And obviously, like to do that, you actually do genuinely have to be there for them. So, for instance, like asking somebody how they are, like if you think their answer doesn't match their mood, like asking again is a good sign that to show that you care about them rather than just like you would just
Blowing off.
saying, yeah, how you are, just to be polite.
I think that's like a very great and practical step to end us on in our time is just like the how are you question, like being
Yeah.
legitimate and asking it 2 or 3 times, even if that's what it takes, and not trying to fix everybody's problems, but to
Mhm.
support them. I think that's like very tangible steps that we all can do better at because I know for myself, it's easy to just be like, oh, how can I fix this? Because I want to try to support, but that's not always what is needed or what is best.
Yeah. When's the last time you cheered somebody up with a logical explanation?
Yeah,
Like
a
logic doesn't
hundred
apply to
percent,
human emotions.
100%. I 100% agree with that. And so to end our time together, I have some 5 rapid fire questions for you, Christoph. So are you ready?
Okay. Ready.
Okay, the first one, Community is.
A great TV show. Uh,
Oh,
um, but generally, a community is a place where you belong, where you don't put on airs or you don't put on a persona that you think people will like. Like you belong for who you are.
really good. Number 2, what is your favorite takeaway?
Pizza, always pizza.
Pizza. Is there a specific kind of pizza, like toppings and place, that you would prefer?
Um, I'm gonna get some backlash for this. Meat feast. So vegetarians, sorry. Vegans, sorry. Um, and at the
Nothing wrong
moment,
with me on that one.
and at the moment, for my local takeaway is Pizza Amore. I've been enjoying getting stuff from there. So
Sweet. Number 3, what are you currently binging? It could be a TV show, it could be a podcast, it could be a book, even, whatever.
binging. I recently resubscribed to Crunchyroll, which is an anime streaming service. I've been binging anime shows. For people who are already fans of anime, recommendation Mob Psycho 100, great show. If you're new to anime, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, you can get that on Netflix actually.
Wow. Wow. Coming in with the double recommendations. So in the midst of COVID, what is something you are grateful for?
Oh, easy. Been blessed with new life. My baby niece was born like just over a week ago. Oh, so
Oh, that's
like,
awesome. Congratulations.
oh crap! I haven't told you yet. Have I? I've already
Oh,
told
I
you.
did not know this. This is breaking news for me right now. So congratulations,
Sorry
Uncle
about that.
Christoph.
But yeah, like she's absolutely gorgeous. She's really cute, and yeah, like I can't wait to meet her in person.
And finally, a would you rather question. Would you rather travel the world for a year on a shoestring budget or stay in only one country for a year but live in luxury?
Hmm. It would really depend on the country to.
Just say England. You're in the UK. That's it.
Oh, then travel around the world on shoestring budget.
Okay.
Like, cause like if it was a good country where there was a lot to see in a year, then yeah, I would go for the luxury bit.
It's a good country.
But just yeah, like you can see all of it, England in a month. Like just and plus like you get some interesting experiences like slumming it in different countries.
Fair enough. Thank you again for joining us on this week's podcast. Feel free to shoot us an email at unilife@canvashouse.org or check out our social media on Facebook or Instagram at Canvas Nottingham. Thanks all.